The Mandela effect, or something more? Do parallel universes overlap, creating foggy memories that may be ours, but not from this realm? Hi most amazing fam, my name is Abby and today I'm bringing you top 10 messages from a parallel universe part 2. I'm back with more since y'all seemed interested and I hunted down some more stories from Reddit and also the comment section of our last video on this subject for more messages from parallel universes. Just to note, these are unverified stories from the internet and I'm sharing their experiences of these people, so believe at your own risk, but I think they're pretty cool. So starting at number 10, parallel universe or a prank. Our first story comes from user Danorive on Reddit. They work in an immigration law firm and set up a conference call between a client and a lawyer. They set up the appointment for 5 p.m., send a confirmation email, and all is looking good. Once 5 p.m. hits, they make the call to the client and transfer him to the lawyer to talk. Seems pretty chill. 10 minutes in, user Danorive gets another call on line 2 with a guy saying, "Hi, I'm calling for my appointment," and this guy sounds exactly like the first guy. So Danorive puts this second caller on hold thinking the lawyer must be talking to the wrong guy, and the lawyer then says, "Yeah, transfer me to line 2, and he does, but the conversation is still going on line 1. And then they check line 2 and the person the lawyer is talking to sounds the exact same and they are talking about the same case. Then they check the phone numbers for the 2 different conversations that are happening at the same time and the calls are both from the same number. Danorive says the lawyer was speechless after his conversation and so were their 2 other co-workers. You could think maybe twins with the same voices, but calling from the same number at the same time? I don't know, man. So let's move on to number 9, FaceTime folly. Now this one was a comment on our last video by Toshi the Dream. They say they typically FaceTime themselves before FaceTiming girls to check themselves out, and doing this results in the phone ringing for a bit and then saying call failed because you can't answer or call yourself really. So they're doing this like usual when the phone starts to say it's connecting, like someone is answering the call. They say it felt like everything froze and their heart stopped, and then their phone shut off. And at the time they thought it was a glitch, but when they thought back after watching our last video, they thought it could be a sign from another universe. Maybe a parallel universe was trying to reach out and answer that call. They said they had chills typing out the message, feeling like they were meant to watch the video at that time, so hey, I hope you found some answers lately, and if you have, let me know. I wanna know. Yeah. We have another person lacking answers at number 8, with year change. This is another one from a commenter, this time Mortaliar. Mortal liar? I like Mortaliar, it sounds bougie. Back when they were a kid, they had a cartoon Transformers VHS where at the very end there was a sentence spoken by the narrator. It was something like, "Now in the year blank," but instead of blank, it said the current year. Obviously, after watching it throughout the years, this caught Mortaliar's attention, so they asked their mom to memorize it, and apparently she even took notes. But for some reason, their mom always agreed with what the narrator was saying that year. This is puzzling and gets me thinking of stuff like the Mandela effect and the whole Bernstein Bears thing, or Bernstein Bears, and kind of confuses you. I don't know. But let's switch back over to Reddit for number 7, with work mix-up. Reddit user Shock Hates Life wrote about a week ago about how watching a YouTube video recently had them thinking about past experiences. And if this is you, let me know if it was our video. Anyways, they were at a new job where they had worked for about 4 days, so no one knew their name. They were in the bathroom on their phone when a fire alarm went off, and people were talking, moving, and telling people to head outside, and then people were calling Shock Hates Life by their real name, even though they thought no one knew their name. And then suddenly they said it was like they knew everyone in there, and they've been there for a while. And then they came to, back in the bathroom and on their phone. 2 separate experiences. I'm thinking maybe they traded consciousness with their counterpart from another universe, maybe? Or it could be like Reddit user Cashew Proscenzo says, they had DAYJA rev, which is an experience that they had already dreamed instead of something they've already seen. And talking about DAYJA, could we consider this next one deja vu? At number 6, we have DAYJA vu. A little fun word thing there. This one is from another commenter from our last video on the topic. Mike Spears felt like he had an experience, like something from a parallel universe, back when he was 13. He wrote that it was Insect Day, which I'm going to take as an autocorrect for Inset Day, which is another word for TD Day or PD Day that stands for In-Service Training Day. Basically, it's a day off from school. Anyways, his dad woke him up on that day and said, "We are gonna go for breakfast, come on, let's get ready." And then he remembers having a lovely day with a full English breakfast, went shopping, and all in all made a very nice day of it. Then at the end of the night, he got ready for sleep to return to school in the morning. A great inset day. Then The next morning, his dad woke him up and said, "We're all going out for breakfast, come on, get ready." And he looked outside, saw it was nice, and asked to double check if it was school today, only for his dad to tell him, "Don't be silly, it's inset day, we're all gonna go out and make the most of the day." So he was thinking, is this the same day twice? Mick said that to this day he is confused about the who, what, when, where, and why of the whole situation, which I would be too. But not the worst situation. Reliving a fun day twice seems, kinda nice. Kinda like the movie About Time. It's a good movie, I recommend it. Number 5, sleep talking takeover. This is another one from Reddit, this one from Big Jow's 86. He was coming back from a trip that was part of his graduation for civil engineering when it happened. He had a couple of drinks but got the front seat on the way back, so although he was sleepy and a little bit inebriated, he wanted to stay chatty so the driver wouldn't get tired, which is a good plan. They got onto the topic of video games through the chatter, and when he fell asleep the first time, instead of stopping the conversation, in his sleep he started talking about some engineering project he was working on as though he had been working on this project for a while, but he was asleep. Anyways, half asleep and hearing his friend laughing at the sudden change of subject, he awoke to talk more back about the video games, but then started falling asleep again and switched back to the topic of engineering mid-sentence, picking up talking about that project where he left off. What made this all the more weird for them was the fact that he had no current project he was working on or any engineering job in his field, but his friend who had done some work in the field said what he was saying in his sleep was making sense. He said, "To me it felt as if my mind had tuned on to the same frequency of a more successful version of myself for a brief moment, as it hung between the dream world and the real world, and I was a bit jealous of him, lol." Do you ever project yourself into a future version of you that's better than you? I can't even imagine it, honestly. Let's move on to number 4, parallel parent. This is another comment from our previous video, and it was from Tyler Gollin. He wrote about an experience that he says he thinks about to this day. When Tyler was about 6 or 7, he went to sleep at his dad's house on what would have been a weekend, only to wake up at his mom's, which would typically be a school night. At such a young age, Tyler said this made him freak out crying, and his mom came in to calm him down, telling him it was just a nightmare. She said she put him to sleep at 8 p.m, and at that point, when he woke up, it was just after 8:30 p.m. But when he fell asleep at his dad's, he saw the clock and it said 8:51 p.m. And then Tyler can't figure out a reason, and his mom doesn't remember anything like this happening at this point in life, so was it all just a dream from another universe where the sleep schedule got flipped with his mom and dad, or what is up? What could have been that situation? I don't know. Let's go. Number 3, Spider-HOAX. So another commenter talked about Spider-Man, so I had to include it. Back when Rachel Knight Online was in 3rd grade, she saw Spider-Man 3 at its opening night in the theaters. She saw it with her 2 brothers and her dad, and they said they all remember the same string of dialogue during the scene where MJ is breaking up with Peter Parker in Central Park. They all heard Peter say, "What's going on? Why are you doing this?" And MJ reply, "Because there are things." That was me trying to be dramatic. And then Peter asks, "What things?" People tell people things while sniffling and crying and being very overdramatic, so it comes off hilarious. And while all 4 of them remember that scene happening that way, it never did. So they all became very confused, and was that just a group hallucination? Or a parallel universe, you tell me. On to number 2, a house that lost a closet. Now, Reddit user Indiana BDC talked about his own weird scenario. When his wife and him moved into a house in 2010, they found a small door that connected 2 of their closets together. At the time, it connected the master bedroom to the game room. He even remembers taking a photo of it on his BlackBerry and posting it to Facebook, saying that one day he will give a good scare to his kids or something. Well, when that day eventually came, when some family was visiting, he decided to pop into the closet to give a good scare to his relatives. But the thing is, he couldn't find the small door. Then he went into the game room, and there's a blank wall where the original closet door was. And then even weirder, scrolling backwards through Facebook, he couldn't find his original post, as if the closet was removed from all aspects of his life but his memory. Now, it's one thing to lose a closet, but another to lose the history of a whole person. At number 1, Brother Who? Our last one comes from Reddit by the user Moonibongo. When he was 13, he remembers going to his best friend's brother's funeral who was hit by a car. He had known his best friend since kindergarten and had all these memories with her brother. She herself was pretty broken up about it and took a week off of school, and when he asked her how she was after she came back, she said, "Great, never better, since I just recovered from a cold." But this obviously confused Moonibongo, so he asked, "What cold? Your brother died." But then his best friend pulled a weird face and said, "I don't have a brother." At the school, no one one else remembered the brother either, and when he visited his best friend's house, there were no photos of a brother, as if that brother just never existed. To this day, he gets poked fun at for thinking that she did have a brother who passed away, but he still says he has a burn mark on his arm from when her brother was playing with magnifying glasses and accidentally hurt him. He thinks he could have slipped into another dimension similar to his own because of all the memories he has that are very vivid. Those are the top 10 that I have for you today. Then what do you think? Do you have any other ones? I want to know. But because of last video, I was looking at the comments for what people were saying, and I found this funny one by user RB, and it says, "This host makes me want to put a theremin under her hands and listen to her spooky music." And if you don't know what that is, I think it's the instrument that you just go into the air and like pluck strings and it makes sounds, and I understand I gesture a lot, so I love that. Thank you. Bye. Until next time. And now we have a link to go through. Linking sources. Linking sources. His friend. This hair in my face. I start walking up to the camera like a baby. No!